Something strange is happening in hip-hop right now. Boosie, the same guy who never stays quiet when someone's accused of snitching, has gone completely silent about Young Thug. And that silence has got Kodak Black calling him out in front of the whole world. Kodak's accusing Boosie of protecting Thug, and Boosie just clapped back in a way nobody saw coming. This isn't just rap drama. This is about loyalty, pride, and the code these artists claim to live by. So let's break down exactly how this exploded and why this could change how people see Boosie forever. And trust me, once you hear what Boosie said back to Kodak, you'll understand why this moment has the entire culture watching his next move. Now, before you leave any comments, please make sure to watch the entire video. Boosie's reputation has always been built on being the first to speak up. If somebody's accused of snitching, breaking the code, or just doing something controversial, Boosie always has something to say. Fast, loud, and unfiltered. But this time, silence. As interrogation clips and rumors about Young Thug started flooding the internet, Boosie stayed completely quiet. No interviews, no tweets, not even a sly comment. And that's exactly what caught Kodak Black's attention. And he didn't hold back. Last night, Kodak Black said, "Hey guys, where the hell is Boosie at? Fam was just a spokesperson for this stuff. Now he ain't got nothing to say. These dude bullshit." That one line shook the whole conversation. Because when Kodak did a song with 6ix9ine, Boosie was on his head every single day for a week straight.
I'm blaming the streets, bro. Streets still that nigga. Come on, man. I thought that nigga stood up for the streets, man. I wish I could take this nigga off Rocket Man now. Biggest rat in the world. Pay you $1 million to sell your soul. You a sucker 20 million, nigga.
So now Kodak's basically saying, you had all that energy for me, but nothing for Thug. And just like that, Boosie's silence went from suspicious to explosive. Boosie fires back, and Boosie didn't let that slide. Boosie said, "Kodak, believe me, when it's time to speak on a situation, I'ma go speak. But it's business. I get it bagged to speak on these situations. And believe me, somebody coming with it, aka DJVlad, and you're wrong. I shouldn't have energy at all for this stuff. And you must be still mad about my remarks about you. Let that ish go and admit you regret it now. Your career been downhill ever since. You're messing over your legacy. You're gonna be known as a drug addict before your talent. And on top of that, you check PC, my nigga. Come on, man. You walked to the left when you got off the bus. The whole Fed system would tell you this. I don't want to go back and forth with you. Get off the drugs and go get you some help. And you messing with the wrong one. Hashtag you not one of us. Hashtag you ain't like that." That wasn't just a clapback. That was a full-blown character demolition. Boosie questioned Kodak's legacy, his career, even how he carried himself in prison. And buried inside that rant was something that made everyone pause. Boosie basically admitted he waits to speak until there's money involved, like holding off until someone like DJVlad comes with it. For someone who built his name on being raw and outspoken, that revelation caught people completely off guard. And that's where this gets real interesting. Because Boosie's not wrong. He does have a lot going on right now. He's got legal battles, court dates, and the possibility of being away from his family for a while. That alone would make most people stay quiet. But here's the thing. Boosie has never been most people. This is the same guy who's hopped on Instagram Live in the middle of chaos just to give his opinion on somebody else's situation. He's dropped tweets during active cases. He's never been the type to bite his tongue. That's why this silence hits so differently. Because if you spent years building your name as the one who speaks the truth no matter what, then suddenly going quiet when it's someone you know, it looks less like caution and more like favoritism. And that's exactly what Kodak exposed. Even if Kodak's delivery was messy, his point wasn't. You can't be the self-appointed voice of the code and then go silent when it's convenient. That's the contradiction people are seeing. And it's why this moment has everyone questioning if Boosie's still standing on principle or just protecting certain relationships. And here's where this whole thing cuts deeper than just two rappers arguing. Because what we're really seeing is the clash between culture and business. Boosie has always positioned himself as the one who speaks for the streets, the guy who doesn't care about the politics or the backlash, just the truth. That's why people trusted his voice for so long. But now, hearing him say he's waiting to speak until someone like DJVlad comes with it, it changes everything. Suddenly, it's not about morals. It's about money. It's not about protecting the code. It's about protecting the check. And that's where fans are starting to feel betrayed. Because once people believe your principles are tied to a price tag, your words lose power. One silent moment can undo years of credibility. And that's what Boosie is flirting with here. Not just losing an argument, but losing the trust that made his voice matter in the first place. That's why Kodak's call out shook the room, because it didn't just question Boosie's opinion, it questioned his integrity. And here's the irony in all of this. It's Kodak, the wild card, the one people usually see as unpredictable, who ended up voicing what the entire culture was already thinking. He didn't just come at Boosie to stir up drama. He said the quiet part out loud, that uncomfortable thought fans were having, but didn't want to say. If Boosie only speaks when there's a bag on the table, then how real has he really been this whole time? Kodak forced that question into the spotlight, and the reason it hit so hard is because Boosie's whole reputation has been built on being unfiltered and unbought. The moment people sense you might be picking and choosing who to call out based on relationships or money, that image starts to crack. Kodak's words didn't just start a feud. They triggered a conversation about double standards, about whether these so-called codes are still real or just marketing. And that's the part that stings the most, because once your authenticity gets questioned, it's hard to get that trust back. So at the end of the day, this was never just about Boosie versus Kodak. This was about something way bigger, the cost of being real when there's money, loyalty, and public pressure on the line. Boosie's not wrong for protecting his business. Kodak's not wrong for wanting consistency. But when your whole legacy is built on being the loud voice of the streets, people expect you to stand on it every single time, not just when it's convenient, and not only when it's profitable. Because once the culture thinks your principles are for sale, your voice stops carrying the weight it used to. And right now, Boosie's voice is standing on a thin line between respect and regret. Kodak didn't just spark a beef, he forced the culture to ask if the code even means anything anymore, or if it only applies when it's easy. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Boosie is just being smart and waiting for the right moment, or is he dodging this whole Young Thug situation because it hits too close to home? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to see where y'all stand on this. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in.
Let's say your biggest principle is snitching. You don't like the snitching. You don't like the talking. You don't like that. You don't like none of that online. That really bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me because I done lost years of my life because of people snitching. You know, if my uncles done lost, my cousins, I probably wouldn't feel this way if all this shit didn't happen to me in my life. I wouldn't probably give a fuck about rap because I wouldn't understand it, but I do. You know, and it took my uncle away, took my cousins away, took me away, took my friends away. How can I have any remorse for that? That's been the common denominator of my failures, of my family failures, trusting people who turn into be rats. So, you know, like, you know, I was on death row because a nigga ratted on me. You know, like, my boys lost because people telling. And, that's detrimental to my family, bro. Like, and that's what make me react the way I act. I could be acting way worse than I act if you knew what I really went through with, you know, the closest people that told on me, man. You know, like, so
you understand what Thug is going
yeah,
through?
I feel for Thug, bro. I feel for Thug, bro. Like, I've been in Thug a position, bro. You know, hoping somebody love you like you love them.